the round function, if you specify the digit value, something like this, okay, and so in this case what happens is, so look here, so what is the, when you round it off, what value you will get it? So here the digit, right, 12.55 comma 0, round function. So you take any programming language, round function is there, isn't it? This is a built-in function. You take SQL query, or you take Python, or any programming language, or any RDBMS software, right? The round function is used. So here 12.55 will round up to 13. So why 12.55 comma 0, right? So if the number of digits is greater than 0, the number is rounded to the specified number of decimal values. This is the number of digits, right? So number of digits, you see this is num digits, right? Num digits is 0, then this number is rounded to the nearest integer, right? Next nearest integer is 13. And here 12.45, since you have mentioned here 0, but the 12.45 is there, it got rounded down to 12. See, we know this school time we studied, right? So in the decimal, if you see anything 12.55, anything above 0.5 and above, right, it will get rounded to the next integer value, okay? So in the case of 0, when you use the 0 argument, okay, and 12.45, this 0.4 is less than 0.5, hence on the left side value, this left side value will get rounded down to 12, right? So this 12.5, yeah, instead of saying left side, the 12.5 will get rounded down to 12. So you have some round up and round down function to clear this thing, okay? So the round up and round down function does the same thing. So if you specify the argument 0, so it rounds up to the next integer, next nearest integer. Next nearest integer is 13, especially if your decimal value is more than, if your decimal value is 0.5 and above, will count. If the decimal value is less than 0.5, it rounds down to the this value, right? On the left side, whatever value is there, it will simply rounds down to this. And we have something called floor function, floor, ceiling. In a house you have floor and ceiling, right? So the floor is kind of your ground and ceiling is your roof. So here 12.03 and the first argument is 1. So what will happen is it rounds down to 12. Whatever the round down does, right, the same thing, because the 0.0 is less than 0.5 and ceiling 12.032, but in this case, though it is 0.032, in the case of ceiling it rounds up to the next nearest integer. Ceiling is a roof, right? It logically the name is also same with this naming convention, right? With this function name itself, we should be able to understand how it was. Ceiling is nothing but your round up, and the round is nothing but your round up. In the case of round function, on all the thing, right? So in the case of round 0.5, the decimal value is 0.5 and above, so it rounds up to the next nearest integer. If it is less than 0.5, but whereas here, whether your decimal value is 0.5 or less than 0.5, it still rounds up to this one, ceiling, okay? So the round, the first argument, suppose your number, num digits, it takes the two argument, one is 0 and other one is 1. So if the num digits is 0, the number is rounded to the nearest integer. If the num digits is this one, right, is less than 0, the number is rounded to the left of the decimal point, right? So number of digits is less than 0. So that is what, but simple rule of thumb is school time, right? Whatever you studied, right? You just remember. See here also 0 mentioned with 0, but since here it is 0.5 and above, it rounds down, it rounds up to 13. So what you do is, I would suggest you to create a measure for this one, and this is an assignment for you all, and just test it out, okay? So the round function, because it's a very simple one, you can just give it a try. And the next one is the logical functions. So what are the logical functions are there? Logical functions are something like switch function, right? The switch function is one of the logical functions that is available in Power BI. So using switch function, like other language, in C language you have a switch function. I guess even in Java you have a switch function, right? Using switch function, what you can do is, instead of writing nested if else, right, with switch function you can write multiple conditions without writing so many if and else, right? I'll just show you one switch function how to use as part of logical function. So I just go here, I go to the data set, and we will take the fact sales. I just clicked on the fact sales and it shows the data here, and I'm going to create a new column here. So here I'm going to create the table, click on the table tools, and I'm going to create a new column. The new column is going to be my calculated column. Calculated column, please remember this. So here we have the sales amount column is there. If those people they achieve the sales between 200 to 500, they can get 15% of the sales amount as a commission, and those people achieved more than 500 sales, they are eligible for 0.58, something like that, 0.18. So we will define this, I just say commission. Mistakenly I press enter. 1 second. So I just create a new column. Column is there or gone? Yeah, so I just create a new column. I just say this new column as commission is equivalent to the switch function. Look here, the syntax you can see to expression. First you need to specify the expression, and then followed by you need to specify the value, and then the result, okay, and then else. So this is something else, right? If the expression is true, and check this value and return this value, else next condition, okay. So I just write this true. First argument is true here, and then what I do is here sales amount. If the sales amount is, the fact sales amount is greater than or equal to 200, and so in this case the logical operator is double ampersand to combine this condition with one more condition, okay. Sales amount, fact sales amount is less than or equal to 500. Those people, they achieved the sales between these two ranges, they are eligible for 15% of my sales amount as commission. Just this is just for some example, okay. 0.15. Instead of writing if else in a you don't have to specify else and all here. So here the first argument is the expression, and here in this case we just specified true, and especially when you are using inequalities or the greater than or equal to or equal sign, or when you use conditions like this, right, you need to put true here. And actually this is the expression, and this is the expression, this is the this is what you are want to test it out, and this is the return value, okay. This is what you want to result, this is the result you want to compute it. And the next one is I'm going to write another condition, sales amount is anything greater than 500. Those people achieve more than 500. I say fact sales amount I just press enter, a new column will get created by the name of commission, and then the commission amount in this column will get computed based on this business rule that we define. This business rule you need to check with the customer. They will give you this one. Okay, look here. So here the sales amount is greater than or equal to 200, right? So in that case, let us see here. The sales amount column is greater than or equal to 200. Since it is not not more than not 200 or not more than 200, hence it is not doing anything here. And if you see the second record here, 200, since it is 200, what happens is it computes the commission as 0.5, 15% of on your sales amount is your commission. That is what it computed it. Look here. So this is how you can use the logical function switch. Switch is very much helpful if you want to perform or implement any complex business rule in a simple way. And then this is the one thing you need to remember it. And what else we can do? The switch function, I've used it in some other thing also. I don't. Yeah, so we can use switch function something like this. I'm going to create another column. So let me just check if I have a column by the name of location key. In this table, I have a column called location. Very good. The location key column is available, but the management wants the column values to be displayed with the correct city name. Instead of BLR, Bangalore should be displayed. Instead of HYD, Hyderabad, it should be displayed like this. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another column. It's a calculated column. Whenever you create a new column in your report, you write is called as your is already used for a column on facts. Let's choose a different name. Okay, let it be there. What is the confusion here? Okay, so here circular dependency. This is not required. This is previously created one. Let us not worry about this. I'm going to create a new column. Here I say it as city name. City name is equivalent to the new column name is going to be city name. Here also I'm going to use switch function. So expression value 1 result. So in my case the expression is fact sales table location key, and here location key comma, if the location key is Hyderabad, HYD, right? So HYD, you just specify it as Hyderabad. If this okay, Hyderabad. If it is a DL, Delhi. If it is CHN, you just specify Chennai. If it is BLR, you specify Bangalore. Look here. So the why the second row shows nothing here? the location Pune, right? So Pune I did not include anything. So what you do is you can specify Pune, Pune also here, Pune as Pune, right? So sorry, the important city I forgot it to include here. So you can specify multiple thing here. If the condition, if the column name is Hyderabad, location K is Hyderabad, then you put Hyderabad, and again you do not have to specify if location key equal to Hyderabad, else if location key is equal to Delhi. If you have to write if else condition, you need to write multiple else, if, right? Multiple if else you have to write it, but with switch function you don't have to write multiple if else. So you need to specify the column name, and second one is you are just comparing the value Hyderabad, replace the HYD by Hyderabad, replace the Del by Delhi in the new column, replace the CHN by Chennai, so replace the BLR by Bangalore, replace Pune by Pune. In this case we are just comparing the values and then we are replacing the value. But if you see here, we are using the equal sign and greater than or equal, right? So these are all the equality operators. We are using equal or equality operators, greater than or equal to, less than. In that kind of situation, the first argument is supposed to be true, comma, and then this is the syntax, okay? And then you specify your condition. If this condition is true, do this, return this value. If this condition is true, return this value. Okay, only in the case of the equal operators, right? So like a equal sign, greater than, less than, that kind of situation, first argument is supposed to be true in the case of switch. Whereas if you don't have to use the greater than or equal to, if you don't want to compare multiple conditions, right? So here AND operator we have used it. If you want to use OR operator, you need to use pipe symbol. Okay, either true AND or this one, pipe symbol is double pipe, that is your OR condition. City name, in this case we are simply comparing this column has this value, replace that with this value in the new column city name. Look here, all these columns have value, but still here I don't see any value here. Why is that? The third one is my HYD. Yes, HYD Hyderabad should be there, right? So no, the fourth record is the location key. Fourth Mumbai, MUM. I missed out Mum, right? So you need to include MUM is Mumbai. But after you do this, you need to check the data thoroughly. Okay, look here, a lot of mistakes. You're not supposed to simply ignore that. So simply you can check what all the cities are there. Replace this one with some kind. So here we are missing Mumbai, so make sure that you have included Mumbai also. Now you understood the difference between this switch function, that switch function. If you want to perform, if you want to use equality sign like greater than sign, less than or equal to sign, so in that kind of situation the first argument is supposed to be true function, and then you need to specify the conditions. But in this case we are simply doing some kind of encoding. If the HYD is there, encode it with Hyderabad. If you find Del, include with Delhi. See, in this case you don't have to specify the first argument as true function. So that is the difference between these two things. And switch falls under logical function. There is much to talk about other logical functions. The next one is the information functions. So what are the information functions? Information functions are something like is error or is error, is blank. These are the information functions. Is contains and is error, something like that. For example, in the case of is error, I just go and check here. For example, if I want to create a new column, I'm going to create a new column. Click on the new column, new calculated column. I'm going to create it here. I just check the column 6 has something is error sales amount. I just want to check whether the sales amount column has any error in it. If any of the rows has error in it, it will show true. Okay, if there is no error, it will show false. This is basically programmatically to check. False means we don't have any error. Simply click on the down arrow and see, yeah, we don't have any error in this column sales amount, right? So everything is good here. And other situation, what we do is we use if condition along with is error. If is error of sales amount, you put blank, or replace it with by 0, or else fact sales amount. This is basically to overcome the error. Error handling, right? So error handling kind of situation, this is very much helpful. Let us see what is correct, right? So look here, in case of any error is there in this column, replace it with, so there are situations you might tend to have error here. You remember in the past session we have seen it in the Power Query editor, when we converted the sales column into text value, we got some error, right? So in that kind of situation, what we will do is we will handle the error like this. See, in real time scenario, every day the data will come here. So once you write your function, once you write the create the calculated column, everything, right? So even in this case of sales amount, if you have any error, let's say today we are getting a fresh feed from the source system, the fresh feed, which is nothing but the today's sales data file. So when we load it, what will happen is this column, we are going to check whether in this column do we have any error. There could be chances because today we got a fresh new file that has today's sales in it. So maybe in this column it might have some 0 or error. If you have error and if you perform any other further calculation, what will happen is your job will fail. To handle that, what we do is, in case of any error is there in this column, even if there is any error, you replace it with 0 so that my job will not fail. If there is no error, simply you take the sales amount, right? Simply you can do this one. So in the case of calculation, for example, you want to find out the percentage of sales, right? Percentage of sales by each location, right? So what will happen is the sales amount, or let's say you want to find out the total sales. What is the sales contribution by each city or each row. So in that case, total sales amount is your denominator, okay? Or for example, let's say your this record sales amount is for how much you get, 100, right? 100 divided by total sales amount. So what is the percentage into 100? In the denominator, if you get by mistakenly 0, what will happen is anything divided by 0 is 0. Or in the numerator, if you get 0 divided by anything is infinity. It will throw an error. To overcome that kind of thing, right? Is error, you can use it. Is error, the sales amount divided by is error sales amount, replace it with, or is error sales amount divided by your total sales amount. For example, here we have created a measure called total sales, right? So total sales, where is the total sales? Total sales measure is there, right? This I already created. So in case of any error, by while computing this one, right? When you divide this sales amount by total sales measure, if it results in any error, replace it, ignore it. In simple way saying that, right? Replace that error by 0. Don't say error. If you put error, my job will crash or my report will cause some problem, right? So in that case, what is simply you put something, put some other value here, okay? So in that kind of situation, the is error function is very much helpful. It is an information function. And also you have is blank function, right? You have is blank function. In case of any blank values are there, you can replace it by blank value. For example, you remember in this case, the sales by customer. In the last session we have seen it. Sales by customer column has empty string in it. In the case of customer name column, instead of specifying it explicitly. Okay, look here, where is that? Sales by customer column. If you see here, in this case we have a blank value. Since it is a text data type, it is not considered a blank, it considered this one as a empty string. So in that case, what you do is, so in this case, the customer's name, what we did, if the customer's name equal to empty string, we did this one. It is kind of opposite. In case of any blank values are there, you put blank. Explicitly you put blank. Okay. For example, here, right, in the sales column, we have some blank values, empty values, null values, right? So replace it with blank, something like that. You can use isBlank function. Try with isBlank function, and also you can check the is logical, whether the column returns logical or the number is number data type, whether this given column is a number data type, right? So is text, is this a text data type, something like that. You can test it out. So for example, I just create a new column. So here I'm going to say is text. Okay, column equal to is text. For example, the column name is customer's name. So the customer's name column, does it having text value is? Yes, it shows true, 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 everything. With this we are able to understand very clearly, even this value also considered as a text, the empty string, hence it returns true here, right? Since it returns true, that means it is not considered a blank. See how much helpful this one, right? And then we have something called username, and username we will discuss it as part of username, user principal name. These are all the information functions. The username and user principal name, all these things, and selected measure is there. And selected measure also we will discuss it in the advanced DAX topic. Tomorrow what we will do is we will continue the advanced DAX concepts. Don't miss out tomorrow's session. It's very, very important. And most likely next Saturday we'll complete entire DAX, okay, in all the important DAX functions, including time intelligence functions, all those functions. Next weekend we will complete it. Tomorrow is very important, don't miss out. I'm going to talk about the important concept like evaluation context, row context, filter context, what is calculated column, what is calculated, measure, what exactly, the difference between these two, and what is calculated table, when we are supposed to use calculated table, when we are supposed to use calculated column and measure. That I'm going to discuss it in tomorrow's session. So with this I'm going to wrap up today's session. You have any questions so far in today's session and the past sessions? If you have any doubt, you can send me a message. We'll try to answer it to you. And today's session, you have any questions?